Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. This is the core and spirit of Bramayugam, a great horror film from Kerala. The movie wears a lot of layers on it, of caste, of colonization, of supernatural powers, but it all comes back to that quote. And more than most films, this film seems more concerned with the themes than its plot or characters. Not that those are uncared for. Also, spoiler alert, from this point onwards, anything seemed interesting to you at all, I'd suggest you please go watch it. It's hard enough to get good horror films, never mind great intelligent ones. And this is one of those films that's a joy to sit and dissect in conversation. So go watch it. Alright? Everyone ready? From the outset, it seems to be a film about caste and demons. And appropriately enough, the narrative expresses its concept of power in two ways. Through caste and through the supernatural. The Yakshi at the start, killing Devan's friend, that's Devan by the way, our protagonist, establishes a supernatural angle. The next thing you see is him asking for permission to enter this house and him getting convinced in that slimy way under false generosity and fake pretenses of niceties.
ഉപകാരം നിരസിക്കുന്നത് അനാദരവാണെന്നറിയില്ലേ? ഉടുമ്പൻ പോറ്റി ഒരു കാര്യം പറഞ്ഞാൽ അതാരും അനുസരിക്കാതിരുന്നിട്ടില്ല.
ശരി, തമ്പുരാൻ പറയണ പോലെ.
So it is a film about caste and demons. But then you start to see oddities around this Kuduman Potti. All through the start, he demonstrates an extreme adherence to manners and propriety. But the blatant hypocrisy is clear in his utterly unkempt appearance, his animalistic and barbaric way of eating, and his almost childish lack of interest in the actual singing that Devan does. The biggest tip-off is that game of Pakida, where he very openly demonstrates his supernatural powers to further enslave our protagonist. Once again, under pretenses of niceness. As we find out in the immediate next scene, Potti is not Potti, but a chatan that the OG Potti, Chudalan Potti, was given as a reward for his devotion and prayer. This Potti grew to mistreat and abuse the chatan till the chatan asked him to gaze into his mouth to suck his soul out, which it did to everyone else who came to kill it or conquer it as well. It kept the real Potti chained up and toyed with him till he passed away and the cook had to go out and bury him. But there's a way to defeat him. A lamp that needs to be snuffed out, that is in the basement, that they plot on getting. And the rest of the movie is how they go actually with that. Yeah. Let's get to the meat of this essay. All the way till here, it's about a power-hungry upper caste man being a magical asshole on top of being a regular asshole. But now it's turned on its head. The tyrant, the villain of the film, is part of this underclass we've been rooting for. And now it's about exacting vengeance by playing out a power fantasy for generations, it seems like, settling into the skin of Koduman Putti. The plot syncs extremely well with the central theme of power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Every character, plotline and arc deals with this and details why and how it holds true. Not that it's hard to see why. Devan is the underprivileged, the lower class. The people who are often affected by the privileged higher class / higher caste. They're subservient and are kept so. The Chatan as well was powerful, but remained subservient till it used its power to kill Chudalan Putti. Chudalan Putti is the mirror opposite of Devan. He is upper caste, privileged and has access to knowledge which gives him more power. What does he do with it? Abuse it for his own petty needs and desires. These two start the same, stay the same, and funnily enough die in the same manner. The other two characters, however, are in a constant state of flux. The Chatan and the cook. Interestingly, these are the only ones without names. It makes an interesting statement with these two on how just navigation between powerful and powerless is an endless cycle. Both want to navigate away from where they're stuck. Both end up in a near endless tussle of madness. The cook believes himself to be highborn because the blood of Koduman Putti runs through his veins. This is a revelation that comes out of left field but makes sense once you see all the ways he kind of shows off his higher caste status to Devan. He's upper caste but powerless. He believes he's owed power and his arc is him trying to attain this power that's rightfully his. The Chatan starts out as an underclass but with all the power living in a box as a slave. The minute it gains power over Chudalan, it takes over the house. It satiates its hunger by vanquishing sorcerers that come to attack it, but it chooses to enslave Putti and take his identity instead. Why? It never grew more powerful in all the time it spent there, and it didn't expand its domain of power either. Instead, it ends up trying to become human First wearing a disguise, then using the disguise's status to oppress and dominate. It's confusing if you think about it. A creature that can control the weather, read minds, has incredible physical dominance, and yet it chooses to use caste, tricks, and bend rules to display its power. You see it walking around with a stick, espousing rules and getting a kick out of being a dickhead. So why? Power only exists and expresses itself if there exists anything to act it out on. The allure of it wearing off the more often you act it out the same way. How are you all powerful when you've explored every avenue to express it? Raw and structured. To me, this shows the corruption of power at its best. You always think of some man turning into a monster or going mad or just eternal destruction, but it's just inevitable boredom and rot. Power craves power, and the expression of it is what gives it any weight or meaning. You lose that, and you might as well just be powerless. Without anything to express your power on, how do you know you're powerful? Big words, but how often have you just gotten tired of the inevitable genocides you just commit in GTA? You can see this in how overjoyed it is to see Devan at the start, how happy it is every time it gets a chance to fuck with him. While this explains most of its behavior throughout the film, it doesn't account for something crucial. How did the Chatan not know that the cook was Potti's son? Or why didn't it know what they were planning? Now, the actual explanation from the director himself is...
He had an anklet on his leg, which says that, okay, I'm not able to see through you.
Which makes sense. But he also cut it out of the final picture because...
So there's a lot of layers of stories which comes out of it, which I feel, I like that interpretation part of.
Hard to argue with that logic. So, presenting to you my interpretation of... Well, I didn't see any of this coming, but also did. Somewhat. The Chatan is waiting for fate to take its course and for it to be freed. If you want to better understand this, there's this idea of the flow of causality from the manga Berserk. It could be from somewhere else. This is where I encountered it, so yeah. Where everything and everyone is given a fate, but we're given agency in how we get there. So while everything and everyone has an overall path that's predetermined, every detail isn't. So it merely goes along with whatever is prophesized, fighting back out of self-defense, but nothing else, and by the end it makes it out. The two humans fighting like animals over power lose it and die. The Chatan takes it and his new form and wanders away. The form it takes this time is of a person with the lowest social standing. The cycle repeats, it seems like. The story started with it being a powerful lower class, and it ends with it in the same place. Nowhere is this more clear than in the final few minutes of the film. The cook, injured, apparently sees the Chatan again. Now pause it. Now you may have any number of assumptions on what it may be, but what you would not expect is the... It's shocking. And also telegraphed very early on. A chilling end to a tale with an even colder implication. That power and oppression are cyclical. That it might just be natural, preordained. And this new power would take us many a millennia to eradicate. Before it started, all over again.
Bramayugam. കലിയുഗത്തിന്റെ ഒരു അപഭ്രംശം, സഹസ്രാബ്ദം നീണ്ടു നിൽക്കുന്ന ഹിംസയുടെ ഉന്മാദം. നീയൊക്കെ എത്ര ഉറക്കെ വിളിച്ചു പാടിയാലും അവൻ കേൾക്കില്ല.
Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow our Instagram page. We post updates there much more regularly about the YouTube channel. Yeah, this video took way too long to make. This was the longest video cycle for both of us, I think. I think we both tried to do something very new for ourselves in both our videos. And hopefully we were mostly successful. But don't worry, we're not going to do this hellish 8-month-long wait cycle for a video from now on. We're trying to get back to our routine of 2 videos a month. And big thanks to Harshit for the thumbnails. Wooden Chunk Shutters on Instagram, you can go check him out now. Great designer. Also big thanks to Yashwant Karpu on Instagram for helping me shoot this time-lapse, hyperlapse thingy. Consistency beats perfection every time. So we're going to try and be consistent this year. Thanks again.